Hello, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu from California's 27th Congressional District, and I'm chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or what we call CAPAC. Today, I will be chairing an important congressional forum on the alarming rise of anti-Asian bigotry during the coronavirus pandemic. And I want to thank my good friends of the Congressional Tri-caucus, the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Joaquin Castro, and chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Karen Bass, for co-hosting this event with me today. I also want to thank my fellow CAPAC colleagues who are participating today, as well as our witnesses and Asian American and Pacific Islander leaders from across the country who are joining us virtually. Since the beginning of this year, Asian Americans all across the nation have been terrified by the rise of anti-Asian hate crimes and incidents related to the coronavirus, in which innocent Asian Americans have been targeted with racism and violence. It started in January with dirty looks, insults, and misinformation that Asian American restaurants and businesses were more likely to have the disease and should be avoided. But in the last few months, it's escalated to spitting, yelling, and physical attacks against Asian Americans all across the nation, including the stabbing of a family of 3 in an Asian American family, including 2 children, ages 2 and 6, at a Sam's Club in Texas, by a man who said he wanted to kill Asian Americans because of the coronavirus. And next, I'd like to call upon Zach Owen to share his testimony.
Hello, members of Congress and esteemed guests. My name is Zach Owen, and I want to thank you for inviting me to testify today. I live in Midland, Texas, and work for Sam's Club. On March 14th, I just got off my break. I was walking from the front to the back of the store, and I seen one of my coworkers kind of frantic on the walkie talking to about a manager saying someone had been stabbed. And as I got to the back, I said, "Who stabbed who?" And she said, "You know, this guy comes walking around the corner, and he's got a big jacket on and concealing the knife." And he just had this crazy look. Like I knew it was him before she said it, so I start following him. But my manager was saying to stay back. So I wanted to be obedient, and I stayed back. Yeah, he went for the father, pulled the knife out, and then slashed at the father. The father jumped back and said, "Come on." And instead he slashed the little boy from his ear all across his face. And I remember seeing blood and his white meat and his ears hanging. And then he went back to stab again. And then that's when I intervened. I grabbed him. We wrestled a little bit, and I took him to the ground and I had him in a chokehold until an off-duty Border Patrol agent was able to show up. And he took it over from there. He put a badge on my face, so I rolled off him. And then I just got out and tended to my wounds. I was cut pretty bad in my hand. And I was walking towards the back to wash up, and then I'd been stabbed in my leg, but I didn't know at the time. I thought it was just like a Charlie when I hit the ground. I hit the ground hard. That's why I was sore. But come to find out, I had a hole in my pants and I was bleeding. So I took off my belt and made a turn up and walked to the front of the store and waited. And this guy, he attacked the family, of course, we all know, because he thought they were Chinese. And he said he was the exterminator of the coronavirus. The words that came out. Yeah, what I have to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zach. Your story is incredible. I thank you for your courage and for rushing in to save this family. And I'm sure you prevented further damage from being done and saved their lives. So I really, really express my appreciation on behalf of the whole for your courage and bravery. Zach, you are a true hero. I was so moved to hear your story. First of all, I want to check with you on your recovery from your injuries. How are you doing there?
Okay, I'm doing okay. I had physical therapy, surgery. I got 40% grip strength in my hand. You know, it's never going to be the same. I I got pain still in my pinky. Like I don't know what they've given me medication right now for. They don't know. They're talking about maybe a second surgery to fix it. But I mean, he did a pretty good job. I just can't straighten my middle finger out or the pinky, and they had cut the tendon completely out of my pinky because they couldn't repair it. But other than that, it's healing well, I guess. It's not too bad.
So I just want to thank you for your incredible courage, because really you saved the lives of this family of 3 children, ages 2 and 6. And I just can't imagine what would have happened had you not come along. So what motivated you to intervene in this situation? And now that you've had some time to reflect, how do you feel about that day?
Well, let's see. I just don't like seeing people being picked on, violence or racism. And what he was doing, he was attacking people, and I just wanted to. I felt that I could do something to stop that. And whenever he stabbed the baby, there was no thought. It was just a reaction, like within. It was there to stop it, and because I thought he'd killed the baby, and I wanted to stop him from harming anybody else, because most definitely he was out to murder the family. Yeah, it's just kind of who I am. The way I was brought up. Look out for others. I believe we're all Americans. We don't need to look at each other as Chinese American or Mexican. No, we're Americans. We all need to stand together, and there's no room for racism right now, especially these harsh times. Yeah. So, and what was was there a second question?
No, thank you for that. You expressed it so well. Thank you for believing that everybody needs to be safe, and it's people like you that will make sure that we are a better America. So thank you for that. Call on Congress member Joaquin Castro for 5 minutes.
Oh, did y'all have a question?
To ask a question.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
No. Well, first I wanted to say to my fellow Texans, again, thank you for your bravery and for your courage. And can you tell me what the reaction in Midland was in the after the incident there?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. What was the reaction in Midland, Odessa, and that whole area of Texas after the incident?
Oh, I got labeled as a hero. They're pretty nice about it. There's a news coverage. A bunch of media kept wanting me to do interviews, but I'm not big on that. So I did one just to get the truth out there, the right story, because they had media was putting all kinds of crazy stuff. So I just gave my testimony to the news media, and they just considered me a hero. The cops, all the cops, the paramedics, they all thanked me. They're trying to recruit me into the Midland PD or military. They want me to look into those things. They asked me if I've thought of other options besides SAMS, so we're looking into that as well. If my hand doesn't disqualify me, that's what we're going to a recruiter to talk about. But yeah.
No, thank you. And I asked that question because it's been, if there is a silver lining, one of the silver linings, as we've seen a lot of these hate crimes happen, is that communities will rally around, the families and the victims, but also the folks who have helped to intervene. And that's been very encouraging to see Americans of different backgrounds come together to protect each other. Join this forum as chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is because we've seen a lot of hate directed at the Hispanic community and Latino community, as you all know as well. We've had a lot of our young boys and girls at football games and basketball games be called wetback and other slurs. And to see it happen also to communities like the Asian community, Asian American community, of course, is very troubling for us and very disheartening. But, you'll have our support in getting the word out to try to stop this kind of hate. So with that, Judy, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. And next, I would like to recognize Congressman Mark Takano for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Chairwoman Chu. Zach, Owen, I'm glad my camera was turned off because I found myself wincing, cringing at the description of what occurred. It was very difficult to listen to you, and that's not your fault. But to hear the story about what happened, the brutality and the rage that you intervened on, it's an incredible story, and I'm very moved by it. And I want to just thank you for stepping forward as a human being and as an American to protect people. You weren't even sworn to do that. That's your job was to work at a retail store. Can you tell me? I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but you know, how long did you worked at that Sam's Club?
I've been with Sam's Club for about 8 months now, going on 9 months.
So you're a relatively new employee. Do you have any? Were you going to college part time? What were you doing?
No, I moved down here just to. I was looking for oil field work, so I took this job in the meantime because it was close to where I lived, and I was saving up money. And then I was starting to look for oil field work, but it had all kind of gone away by now. So.
Now, how have you paid for your medical bills?
Well, Sam's has covered pretty much everything except my family doctor with personal issues as to my mental state. I guess I've been put on antidepressants and anxiety pills because they say I have PTSD.
Well, that would make sense to me. And so your mental health coverage is not covered by Sam's.
Well, they wanted me to. What they recommended was like a therapist or something over the phone, and it took them a while to get that ball rolling. And I just didn't think it'd be very useful or helpful just to talk over the phone. You know, I want to see eye contact, body language, and just feel more like, I don't know. I just felt it'd be better if I could see him in person, but I wasn't able to.
So Sam recommended the telemental health instead of the in-person, or is the COVID pandemic been what's been in the way of you being able to get mental health coverage?
And that's been a big issue with it. COVID's put a kink in things.
Madam Chair, it's occurred to me. Excuse me. It's occurred to me that, and this is also stemmed out of gun violence incidents where we've had mass gun incidents, where victims are at a loss as to where to get their medical coverage, the ongoing mental health issues that follow people in times like this. It's not together clear where what rights they have. And here, Zach is not a sworn peace officer, he's a citizen bystander. I think we need to do more for bystanders than give them training on intervening. I think we need to also take care of bystanders who, excuse me, I did get a COVID-19 test a couple of days ago, so I'm pretty sure it's not COVID. So to reassure all of you, it's the smoky air from the fires here that's lingering. So I want to take that off your minds. But it strikes me that in incidents like this with a bystander, a Good Samaritan bystander who puts himself or herself on the line and gets injured and is physically injured, there's the issue of vocational rehabilitation, training. Zach, your choices shouldn't, I mean, if you want to be a police officer, you want to go in the armed services, that's something that I think is great. That shouldn't be your only choices. I think America and the public, all of us, owe a debt of gratitude to you because you're protecting the civil rights of another person, the dignity of other people. And I think bystanders like you deserve more than just a thank you. I think we need to make sure that we take care of your mental health, your medical bills, and I also think we need to look at a young person like you, how we make sure that you have an opportunity to get to where you want to go. Because I think we want to encourage what you've done in all American citizens. We need to push back against the hate, the bigotry, the nationalism, the hyper rhetoric. And one way we can do that is to let young citizens like you know that the American people have your back, and we need to do more. So I yield back, Madam Speaker, with that, Madam Chair, with that sentiment.
Okay, thank you so much. And next we recognize Congressmember Ted Lieu for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Judy. I want to thank Chairwoman Chu and Joaquin Castro, Karen Bass, and Deb Howland for co-hosting this terrific event. Thank you, Zach, for your courage, your actions, lives, and that's something you're going to carry with the rest of your life, and you should be commended for that, and we all owe you a debt of gratitude.
Zach, do you want to say something? Okay, unmute. Yeah, okay. Unmute. Yeah.
Okay. If one stands up against this people being aggressive or racist, what I found, if you have the courage to stand up, others will follow. Like whenever that attack, the last guy expected to help a 70-year-old man named Louis. He was an Indian man, gray hair. And I didn't know it at the time until after the police report, but he had jumped on his legs and was trying to hold his legs down while we were on the ground. And I thought that was really neat. So just stand together. Don't just let people be picked on. Don't be a bystander. You know, if you stand together, that you have less chance of taking serious harm or death.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. First of all, let me thank our distinguished panelists for sharing your expertise and your personal experiences. It made for such an important forum, and we all learned so much. And I'd like to thank my co-hosts, Congressional Hispanic Caucus Chair Joaquin Castro, as well as Congressional Black Caucus Chair Karen Bass for co-hosting this, as well as all of our Congressional Asian Pacific Caucus members who participated in today's Congressional Forum. Having the opportunity to hear from all of you about the threats that Asian Americans are facing is so critical as we work to address anti-Asian coronavirus bigotry and ensure that all Americans feel safe in this country. Thank you again for joining us. And now this forum is adjourned.